as well as hear feedback from the community. And it took a few months. It was right before the summer. We had a lot of learning to do. But Baruch Hashem, we are here and fulfilling that commitment to report to you so far on some of the achievements that we've had in the last 6 months, as well as maybe some of the plans for the future, and to hear feedback from the community on things that they feel needs to be focused on. In addition, as many of you know, over the last few weeks, there's been an increase in incidents that have in our community, where members of the community were assaulted in different occasions and different ways. Especially, we all know what happened yesterday here in Crown Heights, and we are very happy to report that an arrest was made, and we want to thank all the organizations that helped with that, as well as the police, which we are here today with a group of the police, and they are here to show support, and they will speak and address some of these concerns and answer some of the questions from the community. So just to let you know what's going to happen is we will first hear from the Chairman Barrel, an overview of some of the things we've been focused on the last few months. And then we will hear from a few different members of the board about some of the other things that are going on that they've been working on. And then we will hear from Deputy Inspector Smith, who will let us know some of the things on his end and hear from the community. And then we will have a Q&A session where you will have a chance to ask us questions or ask the police questions and hear from them. So without further ado, I want to ask Barrel, the chairman, to give a report and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shmuley. Thank you all for coming tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for putting your trust in us as your representatives to help make the Shechina the best that it can be. Since we stepped into our roles, I'm going to give a brief overview. Since we stepped into our roles, we have realized the magnitude of responsibility with the two organizations that we've been elected to as a board, the Vadakol and the CHACC. And tonight we will share an update on some of the key projects that we have implemented or begun to work on that we expect to come to fruition over the next few months and years. Security is a major issue, and it is top mind of all of our community and us as well, especially given that there have been several incidents in our community over the past few weeks. We're going to talk about this today. After the board update, Deputy Inspector Smith from the 71st Precinct will give an update on security. Here are some of the major accomplishments that have happened since we've been elected. Since we've taken office, the Rabbanim have been getting paid pretty much fully. Thank you, Mayor. Which was one of the concerns that was raised by our Meet the Candidates a few months ago. We were able to raise private donations to help cover the salaries. Moving forward, we will be working with the Nitzigim and the community to reinstitute community-wider participation so that we have a functioning basin and full salaries of the Rabbanim are paid on a constant basis. You may have noticed over Tishrei the enhanced security that has been around 770 and the community, including long guns and dogs. We worked with many organizations, including the NYPD, to make this happen. Our focus was to make sure that the community and the guests were safe and felt the extra presence of security. Moving over to the CHACC, the primary purpose of the council is to provide programs and assistance to community members. We put a lot of focus on getting the right hire for Director of Social Services to revamp the services that are offered. Shlomo Friedman, he has many years of experience, and we went through a whole hiring process, interviewing many different people, and we felt that he's the best candidate, and he started working actually last week, Monday. All are invited to go into the council and meet with him. Making sure that we're providing what's duly needed to the community. Most importantly, what you will see in the coming weeks and months is an office that is inviting and welcoming, courteous with professionalism to assist those that are seeking assistance. Housing is a long-term issue, and it starts with having communications with the right people. Real estate owners, landlords, and developers. Our focus has been on building those relationships. Our goal is to have our community in focus. We have had many different meetings with developers from our community to see to it that housing is done in a way that fits for our community. On the political advocacy front, over the past few months, we have been meeting with local politicians, highlighting to them our community's priorities. This includes other agencies, such as the Sanitation Department, which many have raised concerns over the new regulations. Communication to the community and for the community to communicate with us is an important component for us to be most successful at our work. Admittedly, it took us some time to get our communication channels built up, but we are happy to announce that we now have several dedicated platforms for us to communicate with you and you to communicate with us. These include WhatsApp, Facebook, X, Instagram, and an email address for those who don't use social media. I want all to know that all 6 of us here, since elected, have been doing the most that we can. I don't mean that, mildly. We've put in a tremendous amount of hours to improve and enhance both the Community Council and the Vada Kol organizations in a way of unity and shalom for the community. After we hear from the security personnel, we want to hear from you, and we'll hopefully be able to answer as much as we can. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Beryl. I want to ask Zalman Friedman to give a short update on some of the work on more the Vada Kol side, as well as he is our communications director, and so he'll let us know how that's going and the best way to communicate with us and that he could communicate with you.
Thank you very much, and thank you again, everybody, for coming, especially the delegation from the police department. With regards to communication has been a challenge. It takes a lot of time. It takes dedication. We finally have a system in place. As you see around the room, we'll have QR codes where you can sign up to follow us on your favorite communication app, whether it's WhatsApp or Twitter or Facebook. We're trying to be as communicative and as upfront as possible. So please do join those communities to stay up to date as to what's going on. We also want to thank the organizations, the community websites that are always keeping the community informed. I do want to take 1 second to answer a question that somebody asked. He said, since you've joined the Vada Kol, what have you learned? So I want to say 2 things. First of all, I've learned that people work for this community in a tremendous way and with tremendous dedication. That starts from within our office, from Eli Cohen, who does tremendous work for our community. He's always there. He does a lot more than he gets credit for, as well as the leaders of the organizations. Shomrim, Shmira, Hatzalah, unbelievable amount of time that regular fathers, husbands are putting in for no pay just to be there for the community, as well as those that are getting paid. The leaders of the moistus, the schools, are doing a tremendous work, and I don't think that we give them enough credit, and we definitely have to work on. We definitely have to work on that. And the other thing that I've learned is that any issue that we think is a simple issue, there's always a cheshbon. There's always something that happens. So for instance, somebody said, how come there's no elevator on Kingston Avenue by the subway when we have so many women that have babies and strollers? We should have an elevator. Or how come there's no parallel? What's that parking called? Angle. How come there's no angle parking? So so all we need to do is communicate to the powers that be, and they'll explain to us why this and why that. So I feel like people sometimes have a negative reaction and say, "Oh, they're out to get us. They don't let us. They don't like us. If only we fought more." But really, there's a lot of regulations, a lot of rules, and most of them are out there for our safety, for our benefit. And if we just ask and inquire, we'll be able to get the answer, and we'll know that really we're all in this working together. The organizations, the governmental organizations, most of them have our best interest in mind. And if we come together as a community with positive energy, with a positive outlook, then I think that we can really accomplish a lot in the next coming years. So thank you again, and we look forward to sharing a lot of good news.
Thank you, Zalman. So as Beryl mentioned, I would say that one of the biggest accomplishments that we've had in the last 6 months was the hiring of a new director of social services, which the goal and the plan is to really change that office. It's no secret that that office has needed a long time revamp and renovation and redo, and this was the first step of that. So I want to ask Yitzi Kamen to give us a little bit of an overview on the process of that, and I guess what we hope to see in the future in that area. Thank you, Yitzi.
You're welcome. So social services is really, one of the core tenets of what we offer through the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, and it's one of the things that really people see as they walk in the door. That's something that affects a lot of people, and it's something that we really wanted to focus in on. Coming into this position, all of us, we got a lot of feedback about the services that the community offers, and some of it has to do with publicity, just people knowing the types of programs that we offer, and some of it has to do with the services that are provided when you walk into Kingston Avenue. So that was a major focus for us, as we've said a couple times, sort of bringing up the level of expertise and professionalism for the services that are being provided. And having a new position, a director of social services, was really something that collectively we wanted to accomplish. And being able to do that in the first few months, we considered to be a big win for the community. The new person, Shlomo, will be doing a number of different items to help improve the facility. But primarily, the main thing is to ensure that we can increase the services that are being provided. We can ensure that people coming in to get the services are getting the courteous professionalism that they're looking for, and bringing in processes to really hold everyone accountable to what's being offered to the community. And those are all important steps to ensuring that we can better provide those for our neighborhood. And of course, there's always going to be more to do. We're looking to increase the grants that come into the community. There are certainly other community organizations, councils, and in other areas that do additional things, and hopefully over time we'll be able to build that up and scale and to increase what's being offered to the community at large. So that's an important step for us. I know that's not something that everyone sees every day, but that is a major focus and where a lot of the work, specifically of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, the CHJCC, is accomplished. And just, on that piece is really the other area that we want to build on more is the communication aspect around that. And that has a little bit to do with what Zalman said about staying clued in to what the Community Council and the VOD is offering. But there are a lot of services that the Community Council offers that people don't know exists. And a lot of that's, a good listing of that is in the pamphlets that are out on the chairs in front of you. So just being more visible and helping people understand what's being offered, having a new focused director on those services, and ultimately bringing the level of expertise and the level of professionalism up to a place where we can better service the community, again, was a major focus. It was a first step, bringing someone in, but it was a big step. So we're looking forward to continuing that and further enhancing what's being offered for the community through the CHJCC in particular. Just, I don't know what that was, but just a stat, in case Siri didn't catch that. We do service about 300 people a month who come through the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council, and we provide about 300 food packages on a weekly basis to people through the food pantry. So just to give you a little bit of info, some statistics on what's happening, we'd like to increase that. But that's what's happening today. So hopefully that clarified for whoever's phone that was, that they couldn't clearly hear what I was referring to. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Yitzi. There are more seats up front for the people standing in the back. There are also more chairs in case people want to get some of the chairs. Everyone, it's possible you saw the pamphlets. You could look through it. These are stuff for some of the things that we are doing. And we hope to increase the amount of services that the office offers, as well as the experience that you have getting those services there. Moving right along, I want to ask Mayor to speak about a project that he was very involved with. And this will actually lead us into the next part, because this is regarding security, but specifically in Shoals. We've been very in touch since we got elected with the Nitsigim, who represent the Shoals. And Mayor will speak about the Chosen program, which is there to provide security for the Shoals.
Hi. So as Shmuley mentioned, first of all, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. It's really heartening to see how many people are interested in the work of the Vada Kol and the CSJCC. It is very reassuring from this side of the table to see how many people are looking to see what our accomplishments are. And on a personal note, thank you very much for coming. And also thank you to the other members of the VAD who put this evening together and made this happen in a very comfortable and professional setting. And of course, thank you to the representatives from the 71st, to Deputy Inspector Thomas Smith and his team. Thank you for coming out. Just a note, in our community, Shabbos is the day of rest. This is their day of rest. This is Sunday. Typically, they're at home with their families, so an extra round of applause for them for coming out tonight. Thank you very much. So I just want to speak briefly about the Chosen Network. The Chosen Network is working together with local organizations, local security organizations, to provide security in Shul on Shabbos. What we've essentially done is establish a network which connects shuls. Every shul has about, depending on the size of the shul, a couple of members that are included in this network, and they get weekly updates about the status of alert that they need to be on. There's also trainings for them about situational awareness and how to how to strengthen and bolster the security of their shuls, and also curated messages that they could send out to their communities so as to alert them when there's an alert necessary, while also not creating panic, chas v'shalom, which is also a danger. So and then Baruch Hashem, we have a handful of shuls that are signed up. It's still in its early stages. We encourage every single shul to reach out and send in a couple of members that could be part of the network. We already did one training in the beginning of Tishrei, where we trained representatives from a few shuls and also 770, just in situational awareness, what to look out for, what are types of things which could possibly consist of a threat, how to prevent these things, etc. And so Baruch Hashem, that's something that we got off the ground and we're very proud of, and we hope that everybody takes part in it, because it's something which will really, really benefit the overall safety of the community. And with that, I would like to if you want to reach out about that, either reach out to your Nitzig, your personal Shul's Nitzig, or you could contact me directly, or you could email Chosen. Chosen stands for Crown Heights Office Security. Sorry, that's embarrassing. Crown Heights Office of Security and Emergency Network, yes. Okay, so it's chosen@chjcc.org. You can send an email and we can include you in the group and get you involved. That, Shmuley?
So right before we call up Deputy Inspector Smith, Yeah. I just want to be, after that, there'll be a Q&A, whether it's a question for the inspector or a question for us. I think we'll have mics probably that go around. You could ask. I'll probably direct you to, I think, to the person I think that can best answer the question. I just want to encourage everyone to reach out to one of us six. You have an issue, you have a problem, you have something that and a good idea, you want to get involved, you want to help, you want to be part of something, reach out to one of us. We're all here to help this community. That's the only reason we got involved in this. So we want to hear from you, and we take it serious. When someone messages me or anyone on this group, we always take it to the next level. If it's something, someone calls me and says, do you offer this service, or where can I get this service? I right away ask Eli Cohen. I say, who do they speak to for this? He answers. I tell them back. If it's something we think that the politics and the political arena might help, mayor will message someone, and etc. So I want to encourage you all to reach out to us and help out, get involved, and we'd love to hear from you. Without further ado, first of all, again, I want to thank the police for being here, for showing support to our community, and Deputy Inspector Smith, the commander of the 71st.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the council, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. Some of you already know me, and for those of you who don't, I am Deputy Inspector Smith. I'm the commanding officer of the 71st Precinct. I've been the commanding officer since December of 2023. And I'm blessed to be a part of this community at what I think is a great time to be here. All right, we just completed a joyous and safe holiday period during the month of October. The security measures taken were unprecedented here in the 7-1 compared to years past. Thank you. With the support of you, our community, the police commissioner, Chief of Department Madry, Chief of Patrol Shell, Chief of Brooklyn South McAvoy, the Counterterrorism Bureau, Honorary Commissioner Devorah Halberstam, the 7-1 Precinct, thank you, deployed heavy weapons teams, K-9 units, aviation patrols, drone technology, hostile surveillance teams, and hundreds of police officers and supervisors on the streets during all our events and festivities. But most importantly, the community's attendance and participation was outstanding and amazing. Thank you. Moving on, with the exception of a few recent incidents that are concerning to us all, the 7-1 Precinct is doing very well. Index crimes are at its lowest levels in recent years. Index crimes are those major felony offenses that we are mandated to record by the FBI. So far this year, January 1st to November 3rd, we are down 30.3% compared to the same time period in 2023. We're down 34.1% compared to 2022. We're down 32.8% compared to 2019. We're doing very well, thank God. This year, we're down 284 index crimes, with 652 versus 936 compared to last year. We are down 39 robberies, 69 versus 108, for a 36.1% decrease. We are down 74 felony assaults, 229 versus 303, for a decrease of 24.4%. We're also down 10 burglaries, 62 versus 72, for a decrease of 14%. We're down 143 grand larcenies, 206 versus 349, for a decrease of 41%. And we're also down 20 grand larceny autos, 65 versus 85, for a decrease of 25%. And unfortunately, we're up one rape, 16 versus 15, for a 6.7 increase, and one homicide, 5 versus 4, for an increase of 25%. But I'd just like to break it down further in what we have called sectors in this precinct, just geographical portions of the command. And this sector here, which is Sector Boy, which we call the northeast part of the precinct, which is New York Avenue to Rochester, from Easton to Empire Boulevard. Just this area alone, we're down 64 index crimes compared to last year, with 146 versus 210, for a decrease of 31%. We're up 123 arrests, 1,046 arrests versus 923 the same time, for an increase of 13.3%. And for Sector David, which is our southeast portion of the precinct, which is New York to Utica, Empire to Clarkson, we're down 83 index crimes, 163 versus 246, for a decrease of 34%. We are down 37 arrests, 454 so far this year compared to 491, for a decrease of 7.5%. I know the numbers are exciting, but I just wanted to share them with you. And I just want to say thanks to the partnerships, the communications, and the collaboration with our civilian patrols, our community leaders, our business partners, and our community members. We have made tremendous progress in the overall safety and quality of life in the Crown Heights community. Many of those partners are here tonight. I want to thank a few of them that I see. Mandy Hirschkopf, Gady Hirschkopf, Ellie Slavin, Ellie Cohen, Hanina Sperling, Yuri Frankel, and I'm sure there's some of you here, and if I missed your name, I apologize, and thank you to the council for giving us this opportunity. And on behalf of the 7-1 precinct, I want to thank everyone else for coming tonight and for this opportunity to be here. Just to talk about these recent cases, they're very troubling and are high priority for the 7-1 precinct and the NYPD. And these are very active cases, and we have our best investigators working to solve them. I can't comment on many details due to the ongoing investigations, but will do my best to answer any questions. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce my team. With me is Officer John Connors, Detective Boyle, and Officer Davis.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the questions. People will have a chance to ask questions. If you have to a specific person, you can say it. If not, I'll try to address it to the person. I will ask that you ask the questions respectfully. I know that people are very nervous with the, although we heard great numbers, but sometimes you don't feel it. But ask the question respectfully. The answer will be given respectfully as well. Okay, go ahead.
First of all, thank you very much, the officers, for being here and protecting us. We really, really appreciate it. Since it's very difficult. Since I understand it's very difficult for you because your hands are kind of tied. However, we really appreciate it. This community loves the police.
And we love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mutual. All right, number one. This is for the community, for the people here on their dais. Housing is very, very important, but I think that everybody who owns an apartment building has to put aside a certain amount of houses, apartments for Kayla Junga Light. Every community that treasures learning has cheaper housing for Kayla Junga Light. I know they get paid whatever, $1,000 a month or $1,500, but they're paying $2,500, and it's not fair that whatever they earned at the chasana, by the time they go out of shlichus, they're down to zero. So I don't know. I only own a house. I don't own an apartment, but I think that you should make it a priority that there should be place for Kayla Junga Light, whether it's a year or two. Number one. Two. I am so upset about those bicycle lanes. With all due respect to the yuppies and the yuppies and the millenniums and all those people who don't get married and live on their own, we have nice-sized families. Do you want us with 6 children to go on one bicycle? Those lanes, okay, I understand you need lanes, but you don't need lanes on every single block. It takes away from the parking, and it's not fair to us. I see they put like 3 or 4 bicycles over here on Montgomery and Kingston Avenue to pretend that the other 10 were taken. We don't need all those bicycles. I don't know who's in charge of them, but as a group, you have to fight for it. You can have bicycles on the sidewalk. Some sidewalks are like on Lefferts Avenue. They're protruding. They're out of the area. Put it over there. Why do you take away car spaces? We need cars. It's not fair to us. You cannot take our community and compare it to a community where people don't get married or they take the bicycles or whatever they do. We cannot have so many bicycle lanes and stop making any more. And I think you should fight for that. I don't have a problem. I'll tell you why, because I have a driveway. But I have Rahmanis. I feel terrible for people who are going around for an hour and a half to look for a place, and then they have to park 6 blocks away. All right, that's number 2. I'm trying to be respectful. Okay. All right. 3. Number 3. All right, now, this criminal who wanted to kidnap the little boy while he was walking with his father had 30 criminal records. I can't believe it. He's out there walking, and before he's put into prison, he's already out. So I understand this is not your fault. I don't blame the police, because I'm telling you, your hands are tied. We got to do something about it. The guy's 30 criminal records, and then he goes and he wants it, God forbid, who knows what could happen. Can you imagine? It would be vice versa. If one of our guys, which would never happen because the way we raise our children, would go and, God forbid, to take a black kid can you imagine what would happen to this world? Oh my God, it would be World War IV. Why do we have to tolerate this? You saw the guy who was beaten up for a stupid telephone? I mean, this is really not fair. So I don't know what can be done about it, but I think I have some kind of a little solution. I think that we should go into all the public schools in our neighborhood, and we have enough people can go there and talk to the young boys and girls. Don't go in an auditorium where you have 500 kids. Go class by class, show them that we are nice people. We are peaceful people. I don't think they know who we are. They see us walking, and they think we are, a threat to them. We're no threat. We are very peaceful people. So I think that the community council, whoever it is, you've got enough people, Mr. Berman or others, or if you want to have women go in there, let them walk in and just talk for the children. I don't know what they're told in their homes. I'm sure whatever. But if they're not raised properly, I think they should get to know what kind of nice people we are. So that's one of the solutions I came up with. I'm almost finished. I have the floor. I think that we are go out of our way to be polite, to say hello to people. I know I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm Midwestern. I'm very friendly. My kids tell me I'm a little bit too friendly for New York, but that's too bad. And we're very nice. We're very accommodating. We're very polite. People pass by my house. We always say hello. We always say goodbye. I think people should, the other people here in the community should get to know that when we say hello or goodbye, we're not being offensive or anything. We're just trying to be friendly. Somebody said, "Why are you looking at me?" I'm looking at you. I said, "Because you're such a nice face. You're such a handsome guy." I mean, come on. I just want to conclude by telling you that I park in my driveway, and somebody took my driveway, so I had to park. I had to block my own driveway. So a gentleman got out of his car and he said, "You cannot do this. It's against the law." And he got really, really angry at me. And you can go either way. So I went out of the car and I said, "Thank you for caring so much and being such a good citizen." However, I spoke to the police and they told me that unless I personally call and tell them that somebody's blocking my driveway, then they're not going to give him a ticket. And this happens to be my driveway, but I thank you so much. Within 2 seconds, this guy calmed down, and actually he was blocking half my driveway. I said, "Would you kind of move a little bit?" And actually he did. So I think that the way we speak, actually, panim, the way you look at people, that's how they respond back. But the most important thing is they should get out the fact that we are nice, peaceful, loving people. Thank you.
One second. Thank you. I'm going to ask everyone from here on to try to limit it to one question or one comment. Just because, Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of people There's a lot of people, and we want to give everyone a chance who wants to. Just to comment on a few of the things that that Mrs. Lane mentioned. The housing, the Kailal, I love it. It's a great idea. Regarding the bike lanes, so a couple things. We all are, all six of us that are sitting on here, I'm not sure about the inspector, but we're all fathers of growing families. So we all know this issue. We all feel it. We've all seen it. We're part of this community also. And I can attest that we brought every single meeting that we've had with every politician over the last 6 months, we brought it up. We're fighting for it. We're in the middle of fighting for it. I'm not sure what there is to do, if there's anything to do regarding the ones that are already up. Maybe Mayor has other updates, but we are speaking about it to the politicians. We bring it up every time we meet with them. Regarding the arrest, for the first part, maybe the inspector will speak about it. The second part is also a great idea. I like it. The fourth part about being polite, I'm also from Cleveland, Ohio, and I agree we should always be polite.
All right, I really can't talk about the policies and the arrest procedures, except for the fact that 7-1 precinct so far this year has made 2,054 arrests. All right, I know it's frustrating when we make the arrests and these perpetrators are back out on the street, but you know that hasn't deterred us from doing what we got to do. We're not frustrated. We're continuing to do what we have to do, and like I said, to make 2,000 arrests so far this year, and 1,200 of those arrests in the eastern portion of the precinct, which are these two sectors here. It's 59% of the arrests here are being made here to help make this a better part of the community. That's a criminal justice reform. That's got to be taken up with the criminal justice. All right, but we're making more arrests.
Thank you. Let's give a man a turn.
I just wanna
Oh, and Mayor wants to say something about the bike lanes, I assume.
Yeah, okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about the bike lanes. The bike lanes right now are currently under review. There was a plan that was proposed by the CB9, Community Board 9, which is the community board which governs most of North Crown Heights, to install new bike lanes, et cetera. Actually, for all those who are here, this coming Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Nostrand Avenue at CB9, there is a community feedback meeting, and I encourage whoever has what to say about the bike lanes to please come and make their voice heard. This includes men, women, everybody is able to go there and make their voice heard, and it's important for the DOT, Department of Transportation, which will be there, to hear and to see how many people feel strongly about this, because there are other people that come and feel very strongly about the bike lanes, even though that there was a video that went around recently about a kid who was, that to me this is the biggest concern. Parking is a very big concern, but the biggest concern is when kids get out of their car, a minivan, and they're running to the sidewalk, they're not looking for bicycles that are coming flying from both directions that could chas v'shalom hit them. That's, to me, like the non-starter part of it, and it's important for the CB9 to see how many people care about this. So Wednesday night at Meretz Hashem on 7 o'clock on Nostrand Avenue. I also do want to say as the commanding officer has said, many of these things have to do with the Justice Department, and that's something that actually we'd like to ramp up in the coming months, is to have more community feedback to our local representatives, both city and state, to change policies. There are many if you want to say on the other side of the political spectrum, they are very, very loud when it comes to voicing the things that they care about. They hound the public representatives. And it's important for us to make our voices heard too. What we think about the policies, about the no cash bail, et cetera, these types of things. So these are types of things which we could get involved. It's not necessarily something which is an immediate fix, but it is something that with more involvement, we could slowly push the needle in the other direction. Sorry. 890 Nostrand.
Also,
We are going to put an update about it.
Also, in regards to that, when you do come to the meeting, we have been talking with the DOT in regards to the bike lanes, and it is something which is almost all of us are against it. But there is security concerns that they do want to have addressed. So you can't just come there saying that we don't want to have the bike lanes. You have to come there and say that there are certain security measures that we believe that it would not be safe to have these bike lanes in our community. And you have to come and give that feedback. Just by saying you're against it will not help. It's unfortunate. It's our community, and technically speaking, we should be the ones that have a say in this, but you have to actually give some feedback of how these bike lanes that are being installed are not secure for our safety.
Okay, we'll take a question from, I think the mic is coming. Yeah, go ahead.
Just concerning the incidents that have occurred, I've spoken to one of the people involved and other people who are from my end of town, which is, I'm a neighbor of the young man that was, compared to me, the young man that was accosted and, you know, hit and so on like that. And one thing that's noticed is that, and you'll notice also with this case of the child that was snatched, people are wearing full masks. That was the case with the man that was accosted. And people who are in my neighborhood, I live on President between Utica and Schenectady, see on Utica a lot of people walking with full masks. Now, that doesn't make sense that people with full masks, I mean, it's one thing if you have something for COVID, you know, it doesn't take up your whole face, that you can only see the eyes. We're not talking about things for religious reasons. We're talking about they're just walking ski masks. Or in the case of this the friend of mine, he said it was like a scarf up to here and then over, you know, and then only the eyes were exposed, so from the top and from the bottom. So I'm just saying that I don't know what the policies are concerning that type of thing, but it would seem that such people should be at least, you know, questioned. Yes, exactly. Something done about that. That shouldn't be allowed, that people can walk around like that.
I understand your frustration, and for us as an investigative agency, it does make our job difficult. But just rest assured that the video canvases we do in situations like this are very, very extensive. And I cannot tell you the distance that we go and the areas that are covered in order to identify these perpetrators. Eventually, at some point, you know, they smoke a cigarette, they pull their mask down, they sneeze, and with the help of our community patrols and our partners in our network, which has been very, very contributing to all of our success, it's very extensive. So we do go above and beyond, and eventually we will get our man. The NYPD always does, you know? There are no regulations as far as wearing masks. There is a bill. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, just a message from the mayor's office that yes, they're working on a mask ban to counter this.
Thank you. We're gonna try to take turns between men and women, so we'll give a.
Okay, office. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Usually, I'm not coming to these things, and I'm like quiet in my house. I don't like to do these things, but I got to the point that I have to say something. This is my kitchen today. Pepper spray and the alarm thing. I just ordered from Amazon for all my kids, because unfortunately, with the last few weeks, I feel not safe in the community. And I live here 23 years since I moved from Israel. And I remember days that we used to have, I live in Schenectady, and I used to have days that see police officers in every corner. I could walk safely in the community. Now blocks are empty. No police cars, nothing. And yeah, the Shmira and Sherman are doing a great job, but they can't just patrol the whole day and night. We need a solution. We need a solution. My kids now are scared to walk in the street. I am scared to walk daylight, anything, anytime. Why I have to think twice? Why do I need to practice with my kids today this alarm? I really appreciate your hard job and everything, and throughout the holidays and everything. I don't like to do what I'm doing now. It's not my personality, but I just got to the point that we're scared. We don't feel safe. Thank
I
you.
understand. We understand, and thank you for your comments and your concerns. Would we love to have more police officers that we could put them on every block? Absolutely. Have our tactics and our patrolling protocols and procedures changed over the years? Yes. You know, I know it's quite often you say, where are the police when you need them? But believe it or not, there's times that we will be seen, and there's times we don't want to be seen. But I can assure you, you know, the police are out there. We're doing our job. Like I said, we're down 31% for the year, and that's consecutively over the year to 2022. So crime is doing a lot better. We are out there. We're making a lot of arrests. It's just unfortunate you don't always see that police presence you're looking for. But just rest assured, we're out there. You know, we haven't wavered, and we will continue to patrol the confines of the 7-1 precinct.
Thank you. We'll move to the men. Rabbi Nash.
Two questions, one for the deputy inspector. The video of the child being snatched was pretty alarming because if you looked at the video, if the father hadn't been holding the child and the guy had snatched the child and run, and he had another child that he had to worry about, what could have been done? Do you have any kind of a, I know that they have handheld alarms, which is possible that people can hold so that when something happens, they can set it off to alarm. But what is a practical solution you can give people for taking some kind of action in such a situation?
As far as preventive measures, I will research with our crime prevention division, but in yesterday's case, I can't see it gone any better. You know, father did protect his child. Father did maintain control of his child's hand at all times. You know, unfortunately, it was an unfortunate situation. It wasn't preventable. You know, you have a guy walking across the street at a time a father's walking with his 2 children, and you know, due to ongoing issues he was suffering during the course of the day, that unfortunate event happened. But you know, the father did everything he needed to do, which is great. And within 3 hours of that being reported to the NYPD, thanks to our civilian patrol partners, we had this individual in custody within 3 hours of this incident being reported to the police. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning.
Do you have any suggestions for someone with security?
Like I said, what could he have done more? I don't know. He was holding his child the entire time. He didn't lose sight of him. If he wanted to carry a whistle or something or an audio device to alert him, I'm sure there's a lot of child safety devices out there on the market. I just don't know them on the top of my head. But I will research with the Community Crime Prevention Division.
I do see the hands raised, and we still have a little bit of time, so I do hope to get to at least most people.
Okay, so. Yeah, that works. Okay, so in sticking to the same theme, it's a little bit of an issue when you have kids that need to go to school and we can't be everywhere at once as parents. I think we should push for free busing for kids of all ages, or at least till high school, so that the kids have, even if they live only 3 or 4 blocks away from school, they should have free busing so that they can get to and from school safely. That's my first issue.
It's a good idea.
Okay, I have one more thing I wanted to discuss, is regarding the housing situation. These days, the real estate brokers, they say it's not them, but I know people who work in real estate in upstate New York and out of town, and none of them ever heard of such a thing. It's only here in Brooklyn. That in order to find a rental property, you need to not only show your credit score and whatever else, which that makes sense, you also have to show that you have an income of 40 times the rent. Now that means that if I'm looking for a place for, so let's say $4,000, because that's going great these days for a 3-bedroom apartment, I need to be making $160,000. If I were making that money, don't you think I would be buying my own house instead of living in a hole in the wall? So we need to work out something. Telling me I need a guarantor, thank you. Half of the people who have actually enough money to do that have been burnt by other people. Therefore, no one will trust anyone anymore. So the only solution I've come across talking about this with people is that the issue, I know I'm the tenant and I should actually be happy for this, but that law about protecting the tenants over the landlords and not letting them be evicted is actually causing more harm than good, if you ask me, because no one wants to rent out to anyone unless they're guaranteed that they may, but the income doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything. I can show my high credit score, which probably most people in this room do not have that credit score. I can show that I've made payments on time every single month from the day that I started paying rent on my own, okay, which is about 4 years now. And no one will rent to me because I don't make $160,000. So that's a huge issue in the community, and it's not just for the Kol Younger Light. It's not just for Almanas and Yisamim. Divorced people are also in that situation of having one income, and no one's there to help them. What one person in the community told me is, well, the halakha says that you need to provide for Almanas and Yisamim, and therefore we don't help divorced people. I'm not asking for tzedakah handouts. I'm asking you to rent to me and to give me a chance. Just trust me.
So, thank you for the comments. About the first issue, does anyone have any ideas about the busing?
All I can say is that I hear everything that you're saying. These are very, very valid points. I'm very happy you're bringing them up. I do not have an answer for you right now that can satisfy you. However, this is something that we are going to take very seriously and look into and see if there's something we could do about this.
And I would say that, I mean, it's. I think we all know the housing issue is an issue in Crown Heights, in Brooklyn, New York, and you know, if we have any ideas and we could come to, it's going to take a lot of people to come together and work on a solution for that. But we are definitely here and you know, available to listen and to try to find a solution. Rabbi Goldstein, and we'll probably move on to two men together, unless more women have questions. But.
I want to talk about a different topic, which may seem to some not as important as the things that were brought up, which are life basics. But just to comment on the bicycle lanes, I'd love to see that the passion that whoever it is that's working on getting us to bike lanes should have that same passion for Bedford Avenue, for Rochester, for Washington Avenue, and all these places. They should also have the parking set up this way. It shouldn't just be Brooklyn Avenue and Kingston Avenue. And I wonder if we can bring that up.
Rabbi, let me just respond to that quickly. If you read the report as to why they want to put bicycle lanes in the areas that they do, it's just because it's based off of numbers and the research that they've done. They've been here in our community for an extensive period of time, trying to figure out why in the past 2 years there were 143 incidents of pedestrians being hit in the crosswalks when they have a green light. So a lot of these things that they bring up, if we're going to fight it, we have to fight it with seichel. We have to read what they're bringing up and then respond. We can't just say that, do it over there. They're coming to us with a problem. We know that New York City has a Project Zero, that they're trying to bring down the accidents and fatalities from the cars. So therefore, we have to compare apples to apples.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, that was just a comment.
No, go. You go.
Okay.
No, go next.
What I wanted to bring up is something else. Baruch Hashem, the community is growing, and they say housing is a problem. And Baruch Hashem, a lot of new shuls opening. There's a shul that's been around in the community 96 years, a beautiful big shul, built as a standalone shul that currently the state wants to take and transfer to make it public housing. That's the Kingsbrook Shul. Anyone who was there knows. If you were never there, you wouldn't know. But this is a beautiful big shul, built as a shul from the only few in Crown Heights. It's 96 years, and this was built by Yidden who put their money into the hospital. And the shul was built by Yidden, and I don't have a solution of what we can do, but I wonder if there's a way as a community council, the VAD, can get the community together. I do think that if there's going to be a few thousand Yidden that are going to be showing up, whether it's showing up to the shul for a Kabbalah Shabbos outside, whether it's a Sunday coming there and literally standing in the street and getting press, I don't think the state wants bad press. It does not look good for anyone in 2024 that they're taking a shul from Yidden and closing it. If this was Lahavdil, a cloister or a mosque, it would have never been closed, even if they claim that this hospital went bankrupt and it's on this, it's now an asset that should belong to the state.
Thank you for bringing that up, Rabbi Goldstein. I spoke with you about this 2 months ago, I believe, and we had someone else who, someone from the community who has more knowledge in this, who's not from the board, was involved in this also. We also got the director of the CHACC involved in this. We also got a lawyer involved in this. And there's certain documentation that we need. There's specifics within that shul that we need to build a case. So what I would say is, thank you for bringing it up, and whoever's listening to this and who has knowledge with that shul, who knows people that were on the board of that shul, who knows people that were members of that shul, who have any information of people that were actually involved with that shul, that will help build the case.
So be in touch. We'll move on to Mr. Kamen, and then we'll give a question to the women, and then.
This is very short. This is on the heels of the bike lane thing. We happen to know someone who was killed by a bicycle. And this is a question really for the police. Simply, are there regulations on the board that are perhaps are not being enforced about bikes stopping on red lights, mopeds stopping on red lights, scooters as well, going the wrong way? Are there not, and if there are, that would be very helpful, are there not laws and regulations about the way those traffics should be behaving and penalties thereof? And if so, why aren't they enforced?
Okay, they are to follow the rules of the road as any vehicle would follow. They are being enforced. It doesn't always appear that we're chasing them or following them. I can't tell you how many times if you try to stop a motorcycle or bicyclist, they're not stopping most of the time. And then, God forbid, they try to flee from a stop and someone gets injured. It's just not worth the risk for us to pursue for a bicycle violation. But I don't have that numbers, but we do write a significant amount of summonses to bicyclists. I could have that forwarded for the next meeting and ready for the next meeting. We have a community council meeting the 7-1 precinct does at the school across the street from the precinct. We go over that every third Thursday of each month. You're welcome to come by there, and if you're not here in this forum, we can talk about them there at that forum as well. But they are being addressed. Our teams do focus on them. It is a huge problem. We see it. We know about it, and it's a safety problem. I hope that helps.
Thank you. We'll take a question from a lady, then we'll move back to the men. So.
Thank you, and welcome to Jewish Community Council. I think you're new. But welcome. There were elections recently. This is on behalf of someone else who would rather me ask this question. Can you please give some attention to safe sidewalks? Many cracks pose a danger for falls, trips while walking. Scooters and walkers, also strollers, shock or flip when bump into a crack. My other suggestion was for the bike lanes. So those are under Department of Transportation. I have many years with 311. I know that the option of calling 311 to make a suggestion to the agency is an option. So anybody can do that directly to Department of Transportation.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll take it.
This is regarding the bike lanes on Brooklyn Avenue.
Might be together.
So I went to the meeting at the DOT. Unfortunately, a lot of people weren't there. But after speaking to people at DOT, I asked the woman in charge, I said, why are you introducing a bike lane to the street that's already crowded? But she said, our stats show when we put protected bike lanes, the accidents go down. So now anybody who knows anything about numbers knows that when you change two things, you can't discern one thing from it. For example, the reason why the crashes go down is because the road is narrowed. But they bring a new risk of bringing bicycles in. So the risk of the bicycle is outshined by the risk of narrowing the road. Okay, so that's a trick, a classic trick that is done. Anybody who does data does this kind of tricks. I spoke to them. The man who was there from DOT agreed with me. The woman did not. Now, the bottom line is like this. If you want to bring the road safer, narrow the road, but don't put a protected bike lane, because then you'll have bikes barreling on Brooklyn Avenue, kids walking to school, not expecting to have a bike there. Your accidents are just going to fly through the roof, okay? So the idea that to introduce a risk of bikes ripping down Brooklyn Avenue will make it safer for kids is illogical. So they say they want to make it narrower. Now, understand for people in Queens to understand what it's going to be. Anybody here go on Union Street and get stuck behind a car and you're stuck because it's one lane? They want to make Brooklyn Avenue into Union Street. Just understand that. So you go on Union Street. I don't even go there. I know if one guy stops, I'm stuck. Brooklyn Avenue has buildings. People live there. If one person stops for an Uber or a UPS truck, the entire Brooklyn Avenue will stop. That will back up all the way to Eastern Parkway, and you could do the rest of the math. So it's not about a bike lane. It's a major thoroughfare. You want to make it one lane. You want to put, they have these things to slow things down. They do it in Canada, these plastic sticks on the road to narrow the road. You can do that. Emergency vehicles can get through. Zatzala right there by Empire Steeple, 2 Zatzala ambulances. How are they going to get through Brooklyn Avenue? They're not going to get through Brooklyn Avenue. So I was at the meeting. I spoke the points. The people at DOT, one person was listening, the other person, they have their agenda they don't want to hear. I'm talking about logical arguments. So I don't know who speaks to them. I would love to follow up with them. I spoke to them after everybody left. The man agreed with me. He said, you're right. What you're saying makes sense. But the woman was stuck on her idea. I said, you're trying to bring bikes into Crown Heights. By the way, just anybody knows the reason why they made this whole idea? Because the public school and Wingate complained people doing donuts in front of their schools. That's what triggered the entire overview. People should understand that. That's what triggered the overview. DOT said this, not me. So just understand, when they say stats, I look at the stats. You got to read the stats. They fudge the numbers to make it look like a certain way. To throw in a bike lane protected with the cars, so the stats goes down. But it's the classical trick of hiding data. Classic. So I'll go again to the meeting this Wednesday. I hope more people show up, because when I was there was 3 other people from the community showed up. Then a few more came later. And the idea is, yes, we live here. We're requesting it. Don't be holier than we are for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that. I mean, I agree, and working with the DOT has not always been easy, and they don't always listen to you. Just to give an example, a couple of weeks ago, a friend of many of the board members he was walking, was on Friday night, and was hit by a car on the intersection of Rutland and Troy, which is actually right where my house is. Now, I've seen cars go through stops. There's a stop sign there, and I see cars go through a stop sign all the time there. And I've asked for a traffic light there way before I was part of the community council. Now I asked, the day after it happened, I emailed the DOT and I said, they said, well, it's already been approved, but there's an FDNY post there, and they would have to move it before we actually put up a traffic light. Okay, I said, please, let me know what's happening. No reply after about a week. We went a little bit higher, and we said, what's going on? He said, I'll find out. And the response came back from the FDNY, we don't really have to let you know what's happening. We don't even know if we got a request for it. Maybe we'll take care of it. Maybe we won't, kind of like, stay out of our business. So working with city is tough, but we are committed to, continue to argue against. And I encourage everyone Wednesday, where's the meeting? Does everyone know where the meeting is? 7 o'clock, okay. So, okay, well, if you're on the WhatsApp, we will post it. And as well if there's any other communication device.
One thing, I asked the DOT to argue based on merit, and not to tell us just the way it is. We argue on merit, and that's the point. And I brought very clear merit points to them, and they ignore it.
Without saying names, we spoke to a local politician, and we were arguing against it, and she's one of the ones that are fighting for it. And she's like, but it's so safe. We're like, we also care about safety. I have 5 kids, Kanai, we all have kids. We all care about safety. But we all feel there's a better way to figure out, while being safe, to figure out the bike lane issue.
Adding bike lanes does not add safety. It adds risk. No one's going to tell you that a bike lane going down Brooklyn Avenue will add safety. It will add risk. To the children, for sure. There's no question about it.
I agree.
How does that add safety? It's illogical.
I agree. Okay, moving on. This young man was waiting for a long time, so.
I read that you did a lot of work. You had basically had sukkahs and Arab community council is doing something about issues they care about, that having issues with Shabbos taken care about, Sukkot taken care about. And these are really important to the Rebbe and to all of us. There's another issue regarding that's related to safety. Mezuzahs, I mean, recently Malchun Stam pointed out that 75% of homes have issues with placement. Could the Beis Din have like a team of people, experts in mezuzahs, to go through homes? Or like have a hotline for that or something like that?
Not necessarily an issue that I wanted to get into tonight, but we all know, and we've been working very hard to pay the Rabbanim, but the Rabbanim are working not at full staff right now, and it may be for a different discussion or different time, but we all know that we have to continue paying the Rabbanim, and the Rabbanim, the Beis Din should be full staffed. Let's take a walk from a woman, and we'll come back to the men. You have a question? Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I'm happy we have somebody to speak about this too, finally. Though I think so many years of living here. So the first thing is there are many different organizations in many different places, and for the most part, Crown Heights uses organizations from other communities when they need things. So for example, Links or Misaskim or any sort of, if somebody needs food stamps, Medicaid, they've gone to Williamsburg, they've gone to Borough Park. So I think that it's time for us, I think it's time for us to compile perhaps a list of community resources, and that there's definitely things that exist and many people don't know about them. But just for example, I run Kesher Nafshi Crown Heights, and we have many different types of mental health emails that have come and different organizations, but it's a hodgepodge of different things, and there's no cohesive or unit, there's no collaboration, and it's really important. Like, I get emails from the Wellness Institute, there's Operation Survival, Neshamas, I know Embrace has done things, and I know Aliyah, the space, there's a Chabad house on Eastern Parkway. Not everybody knows about what's available, and I think that we really need to come together. I do know that the head of Kesher Nafshi in, I don't know if he lives in Muncie or where he's actually from, but he said to me, he said, you need to be able to sustain yourself. Crown Heights wants Shimon Russell to come down to speak or someone else to come to speak. We need to be able to fundraise and do it on our own. We can't always be leeching off other communities. So if there's some way that we could collaborate together with schools, organizations, in a unified way, I think that could be beautiful, and it could really accomplish much more than we're doing on our own.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thursday, our new social services director, Shlomo Friedman, I sat with him for an hour and a half, going through what he found in the office, his progress report, and one of the things that he has on his agenda as the new social services director, which is a brand new position that was created by the board. Thank you very much, Shmuley and Yitzi, for being very involved in this. Is to go through all different kinds of new programs that other community councils offer, other communities offer. We went through a list, and he's starting on this. What I would say is if you could send in an email of every organization that you believe could be, that the community could really use, that'll be extremely helpful, because we will look at every single item that you bring in. In regards to that, there was 2 organizations that we had meetings with that we're considering partnering with to help out families. One organization that we met with is called Project Ezra. They run out of New Jersey. And there's another organization that we met with. It's called Collective Kindness. They do amazing work. And we're looking to partner with these kind of organizations. But these kinds of organizations are more organizations that we wouldn't be completely under the CHACC. It will be a partnership with the CHACC. There's other organizations that offer certain services that we're looking to actually bring on those services. So thank you.
And just to touch on what Beryl was saying, we are in the middle of, we've hired him, we're in the middle of revamping the community council's website. And the plan is on the website to have everything that the community offers, not only that community council, including what they offer, which coming into this job, I had no idea of half or most of the things they offer, but everything the community offers with a link, if they have a website or a contact person, that someone could go on this one website and see everything that you could get in Crown Heights. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we're going to get to you next. I told her, and then we're going to get to you.
All right, in the back. In the back. All right.
The lady in the back.
Hi, thank you so much. So this is for the police officer. Do you foresee any changes now that Trump has been elected of the actual police laws changing? Or I know when he was president 4 years ago, or however many years ago, he really tried to take crime off the streets, and he was really for the police. So do you foresee any changes?
I can't say what's going to happen in the future, but I see there's a lot of happy faces in the crowd.
Mr. Hackner, Rabbi Hackner.
I have one more question.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, this is also about mental health. So I also run an organization for holistic mental health, and I'm wondering if I can put my name on the list. And I'm fundraising for people to get holistic mental health services because I feel like there's not enough of that, and we really need holistic help. Sometimes that's better than the medical model or whatever you want to call it. Some people want that. So anyway, if you're interested, I can give you my name and information.
Rabbi Hackner or Rabbi Goldstein? First Rabbi Hackner, then Rabbi Goldstein.
No, Rabbi, I'm just a mister. I live on a street where a couple of the street lights were not working. I called 311. They told me it was reported already. I said, so when are you coming to fix it? Whoever's paying for it. They couldn't answer me. I said, do you have a ticket number, a docket number? Yes, they gave me the docket number. I called a friend of mine who lives on the block, and within 24 hours, that 2 streetlights were repaired. My friend's name is Hanina Sperlin. The reason I'm saying this is there anybody in the community council that has a relationship with anybody that can get streetlights repaired a little quicker than what they're doing? That's number one. Number two, tree pruning. It's outrageous that some of the trees on Kingston Avenue by Raskin's Fish Store and between Montgomery and Empire, the trees are mamish blocking the streetlights. You can't, it's pitch black. You walk down Kingston Avenue, it's disgusting. You can't see in front of you. Tree pruning hasn't been done in years. Not on any of the cross streets, not on the avenues, nothing. Is there anybody on the council, even this new guy who you hired, who I don't even see here tonight, but is there anybody here who has a connection with the city, with the Parks Department, that can get this done? Thank you.
So I'd like to address two of these questions. This question and a question that was brought up before. There are tree pits that are going across Kingston Avenue on the sidewalks that people have been falling into. Scooters have fallen, bikes strollers fall into. They're a big nuisance. So I reached out to the city and I asked them, when are they coming to fix it? And they said what they can do is they can give tickets to the landlords that are responsible to fill in those tree pits to make sure that they're clean and orderly and on the same level as the sidewalk. So the fact is that the landlords are mostly responsible for the sidewalk safety as well as the tree pits safety. With regards to pruning the trees, they said that it's on the schedule, and within the next 6 months, all the trees on Kingston Avenue should be pruned by the city. What about all the other streets? I don't know. I asked them about specifically about Kingston Avenue, and they said that it should be done within the next 6 months.
Thank you. Let's move on to give to Chaplain Goldstein.
I'll just add, if you give us a list of those most problematic streetlights and trees, we'll reach out to our counterparts in the Parks Department and Department of Transportation, see what we could do to help out.
Good evening. My name is Michael Goldstein. I'm a resident of this community for over 65 years, probably close to 70 years. That's for starters. A bacher in the yeshiva, got married, live here. I was a chairman of the community board for 34 years and on the board for 42 years. In my current background, I'm Assistant Commissioner of Housing for the state of New York, and we have oversight over rent control and rent stabilized apartments in the city. That's just for quick background. And I'm saying that background because I'm coming to a point. About a year ago, I met with Junga Light in a house next door to the church on Schenectady and Maple. There's a huge, massive disaster brewing over there. Does anybody know about it in the council? Does anybody hear about it? What is the problem? It's very simple. The church is on the corner. They got land behind them. The city of New York, they approached the city of New York and said, we can help you, you're homeless. Put together a program. They called me in to talk to me how I could advise them what to do. I did. I talked to them, told them what to do. The group of the church who put in the paperwork, and I know about this because my agency has a part of this. They put the application in, but it was a problem with the application. They were told to redo it. Who here in the council, sitting up here, is going to do something about that? Because that is a disaster. It's 238 units of homeless housing in your backyard. That's for starters.
Front yard for some.
Front yard. That is for starters. Number two, do you walk around the streets in the neighborhood, like up my block? Do you know how many units of houses are being built over there? Does anybody know here in the council? Anybody have any attention? 322 units are being built in 2 buildings. Up the street from the 71st Precinct, down the street from my house. Has anybody gone to the landlord and talked to him about building kitchens with 2 sinks? Anybody take an interest? Do you know what's going to go in there? Have you an idea what they could do over there? That is the most critical thing, in my humble opinion, that is going to affect this community in a very, very big way. The building's going up. If you have not gone there, take a walk. Go take a look at these 2 monstrous buildings that are going up. The street is Montgomery Street and Ocean Avenue, Clove Road, Malbone Street. The people who live on Malbone Street have effectively been darked out. After 12 o'clock in the afternoon, their houses go dark because these buildings are monstrosities. All the Yidden living on Malbone, they're dead in the water. Take a walk, take a look. You'll be able to see that. And I'm turning to the leadership of the council. They need that this has to be a priority. There are a lot of things out there that you have to deal with. This is a priority. It's housing. It's people's lives on the line. And if you're wondering about people being mugged or stuff like that, have fun. This is part of it. And now, I'll add one more last thing, and I'm going to back off. You talk about Kingsbrook. I'm not going to stand over here and talk about it. My wife was on the board for 25 years. She was the secretary of the board at Kingsbrook. Did anybody over here call her to ask her, pick her brain? That's all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
In regards to that, we addressed that earlier in regards to Kingsbrook Hospital. It's good to know that your wife was on the board. It will be extremely important that you email the council your wife's name, full legal name, and her contact details.
You could email it. I just want to comment. We only have time for, I think, 1 or 2 more questions, but I don't know if in the buildings in particular that you're talking about, if we spoke to landlord. I mean, it's a big community, and thank you for bringing up to our attention. But I do know that we as a VAD and the council have gone to landlords and asked them and pushed them to, if they're building, to accommodate Jewish people with, you know, a big bedroom and two sinks in the kitchen. So thank you. Go ahead.
Shmuley, wait just one second.
Okay, go ahead.
About the housing, so it's a very, very complex issue, and we have definitely prioritized it in terms of what we're interested in focusing on. I want to make actually an appeal here. There are many people in the community that are lawyers, that are real estate agents, that have worked with government agencies and bureaucracy. And in order to counter these projects, which many of them are in late stages of development, it's going to take more than just 6 good-willed guys. It's going to take people who have real know-how to counter these things. So I call on anybody who feels like they can help out with this, because it really is a serious, serious issue, which we really have to tackle with all hands on deck. Also, I mean, he mentioned about Clove Road and Malbone Street. Malbone Street is not just threatened to be darked out; it's going to effectively be completely shut off. And the way that Malbone Street operates today is being threatened right now because they want to open up a parking lot. They want to open. Yes, yes. Please reach out to me afterwards, because I'm not comfortable sharing his name on such a public forum, but.
In regards to that question, yes, we have someone. The problem is, if you looked at, go back a couple of months, how many candidates actually were willing to put their name out there to the community saying that they're willing to help the community out? You were one of them, and I really appreciate it. With that said, thank you very much. People are hesitant to put their name out there in public for many different reasons. With that said, part of our many committees that we have, the people that are on there with the condition of anonymity. Now, do we have these committees, and do you trust us if we have these committees? As he said, as Mayor said, come over to us afterwards and we can give you a full breakdown. Our hands are tied in regards to how much we could talk about these kind of things in a public manner, because the only willingness that they are willing to get involved is if it's with anonymity.
I'll tell you what, good idea. I had in the military a top secret clearance. You're talking now that people will not talk and meet because they're afraid of X, Y, and Z.
I think they said come privately, and he'll talk to you. We have time for one more question, and then I think the members of the council will stick around for a few minutes and talk. Okay, 2 more. So a woman's first, and then we'll take Ferrari Gold, and then we'll call it a wrap.
Make the housing low income for the country.
Thank you. Thank you. The time is short, so I'll try to be quick. On July 8th, an electric vehicle, it's called a one-wheel, was stolen from my alleyway. The police, I called the police because it was recommended to me. They finally came at about 11 p.m. when I was in pajamas. This happened at 3 a.m. I would call them early in the morning. They did nothing and told me to give up. I'm not going to be getting it back. Indeed, I did not find it back, but I did go to all my neighbors, collect all the footage. I was told that a detective would reach out to me. Never happened till this day. That was back in July. A week later, Shaimim caught the guy. He was arrested, trespassing. He was arrested because he had trespassed. Shaimim let me know. I went down to the precinct with his name and information and was told, we don't have such a guy here. He was behind bars that day, and I was turned away. 2 weeks later, my husband was punched. He nearly died from that. He was rushed to the hospital. The man who punched him lied that my husband had hit him first. Thank God there was footage. Shaimim obtained it once again within about 2 minutes. The guy was caught a couple of blocks away and arrested. Sorry, a little bit overwhelmed. This past Thursday, my son was in Lefferts Park. He was elbowed by a 9-year-old child. I was not there, unfortunately. That would not have happened if I was there. Nothing was done. People stared, said nothing, and did nothing. The kid ran to his teenage brother's friends, whoever it was. Absolutely nothing happened, and I have no idea. My son came home, hurt on his forehead, crying, and has not gone back to the park since then. My son is 4 years old. There's no reason for that. I have a couple of things to say based on this. I'm wondering if the numbers are lower because of the bail reform and people are being released within 24 hours, or the numbers are lower because there's actually less crime. I think we know the answer to that. I'm wondering if the police have a lack of manpower currently, because being at the park at those hours would help prevent and protect our children. There are druggies. The bathrooms are not available to our children while they're playing in the park because the druggies use the park to do their drugs. What is their business being next to our children? There is no business. Our children should not be afraid of homeless crazies nor druggies being in the park at the same time as them. So I'd like to request a few things. One, if it's possible to add policing around the parks, if not on every corner, if there is a lack of manpower. And two, when my husband was in the hospital, a couple of friends came to visit him in the hospital, sharing information of how they were punched, or they were mugged, or they were X, Y, and Z. I don't need to continue. We all understand what I'm trying to say. I think streetlights would help. There are many streets in this community that are dark. Once 4 o'clock nowadays hits, the streets are dark. You know what that invites? People who don't have good intentions. We need to add more streetlights. That's it. We all know that when there's more light, there's less darkness. Let's help and try to actually do something about these two things. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear what you've gone through, and what you've said is very troubling to everyone in this room and very troubling to me in the 7-1 precinct. I will look into the matters you discussed. As far as Hamilton Metz Park, I have spoken with Parks Enforcement Police, and they assured me that they would have patrols there. All right, I will look into their deployments. I will try to get them to deploy to that area more frequently than obviously they've been there. As far as your lighting conditions, please let me know some locations. Like I said, I will talk to our partners in Department of Transportation and the Parks Enforcement to help trim a lot of these trees, which will alleviate a lot of those conditions. We will do what we can to help you. Just see us on the side, and we'll talk on the side. And
Thank
just
you.
before I turn
Okay.
things over, I do want to address your concerns about the bicyclists being, I did look it up in my phone the best I could, and as of October 28th, we've written 495 summonses to bicyclists and scooter operators. Just to answer that question. I told you I'd look into that, I did.
Before you go,
We're going to
Inspector.
take one more question. It's the last question. We will stick around, but the official program will end after this
Yes,
question.
Inspector, just along with everybody else, congratulations on those crime statistics that you said earlier. It's very impressive. But I have a question about the accident statistics and crime crash statistics in our community. With all the red light cameras, the speeding light cameras, the bike lanes, all these situations, I'd like to know, and of course, on the first line of any accident is the police report, so that then the 71st Precinct writes up on any accident, serious accident. I wanted to know, like CompStat, I assume CompStat is still enforced. Is that correct, Inspector?
CompStat is still a thing, yes.
So I was wondering if you have similar any statistics. I haven't seen any statistics for the accidents reports, the accident rates going on in Crown Heights. As we know, Eastern Parkway had one of the highest. Eastern Parkway and Rochester Avenue is the fourth of the top 10 locations, accident locations in all of New York City. I was just wondering if you have, the 71st Precinct has those those crash statistics, and where have they gone? What's happened with the crash statistics? Something we're talking about safety, bicycle and all that safety. Thank you.
Okay, I have what in front of me as of October 28th. For 2024, we have 1,592 total accidents versus 1,635 for a decrease of 43 or 2.63%. Injuries are up 775 versus 773 for an increase of 2. As far as current periods, we're down in collision categories. we are addressing them out there. Like I said, we had 495 summonses to bicyclists and motorized scooter operators. And I will have more for you for the next meeting.
Thank you. That will wrap up the official part. I want to thank everyone for coming and everyone for watching online. It was really a beautiful turnout. Thank you for listening.
I'm sorry, before you leave, I just wanted to give an update on the gentleman from yesterday's incident. He is being charged with the attempted kidnapping. He will be arraigned in the next 2 days or so. So he's still in custody. He's not out there tonight. Rest assured, the DA's office is going to prosecute this fully. And what I want to say is I just want to thank everybody for their input tonight. I will bring this back to Chief McAvoy from Brooklyn South, Chief Madry, Chief of Department, and Chief Shell about getting additional resources here. Since yesterday's incident, we did shift resources to the sectors B and D in this part of the area. So you will see some, and others you won't see some. But we have already shifted resources, just so you know. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.